What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Boxcar Cove. Let's fish that. Alright guys, so we are out here in the middle of the day today at Boxcar Cove. I will share a little secret with you guys. This is actually my favorite place to fish at Lake Mead. I've been here now 5 times, and that's a bit of a weird thing to say because out of these 5 times I have not once actually landed a fish from these waters. I've hooked a few, but I've never actually landed one. So it's a strange thing to say, seeing how I've never caught a fish out here. But that is why I'm out here today, to see if I can try and catch my first fish from Boxcar Cove. I think that's going to be enough to chat for today. Let's get into some fishing. Okay, so why do I like Boxcar Cove that much? Well, for starters, you have a big flat there on that side. During spring, you can see the bluegill beds, you can see the bass beds in that shallower part. Then you have a gradual slope and you reach these extremely deep pools between the rocks. So you have rocks, but out there you have some grass. That entire shallow part grows up with grass, so you have grass out there, rocks around here, and some access to some pretty deep water straight off these rocks. That's why you have these little coves and stuff. You have rocks, you have trees, you have grass. It's just a lot of different structure around, and that is why I like Boxcar Cove. Now I've seen a few carp jump around, so I have my one rod set up there with some corn for carp. I don't have any of my little method feeders. I have a little homemade project that I'm running on that. I will show you guys what that looks like when I rebait that one. So we're trying for some carp out there. On my second rod, I'm using some inline spinners at the moment. I've seen some bass around in the area, trying to get them to hit my little inline spinner. Might swap out for some earthworms or something, just to see if I can get any fish out here. I think as soon as I'm on the board, it might be a lot easier to catch different types of fish. But let's get to fishing. Alright, so I'm going to change tactics. Rather than trying to get a bass first, I'm going to go for something smaller like a green sunfish or something. So I'm using a small hook, a little piece of night crawler on there. Let's see if we can find any small fish out here. And here we are, guys, first fish from Boxcar Cove, and it's a tiny little bluegill. Nice looking tiny little bluegill out here. Quickly gonna unhook him, get him back into the water. Bit of a drop, so I'm dropping him head first. That way they just go down into the water a lot better. Immediately get some water on their gills. And a smaller bluegill. Well, this one is almost the right size to live line out there, but I'm not going to do that yet. Still going to try with some lures and stuff. And there we go, another little bluegill. This one has some beautiful colors on him, beautiful patterns. Let's quickly unhook him, get him back into the water. And down he goes. Alright, so at least we're on the board, we've caught some fish. I'm gonna have a look around at some other holes, other rocks, other sticks sticking out before swapping back over to my little lures to see if I can find any of these small bass I see swimming around. And here we have a green sunfish. A bit different from the ones we caught before in that it's elongated shape, it's not round, and the white and yellow on the fins underneath. So another species for today. Let's get this one back into the water. There we are, another green sunfish. This one was caught right next to me here at where the ledge is. Just dangled the worm down there and got this little green sunfish. Let's get him back into the water. Down he goes. And here we have another little green sunfish. Now at this point you're probably asking, why am I only targeting these small little sunfish and bluegill at the moment when there are so many better fish out there? Let's quickly get this guy back into the water. And down he goes. So first off, catching these small fish is fun. I don't care what you've been told, it's fun catching these small guys as well, especially on some light tackle. But more than that, I am actually busy learning where these fish are and where to find them. For instance, the bluegill seem to be on the outside, not in between the rocks, but on the outside of the rocks, whereas the green sunfish tend to be in the ledges, hiding in between the rocks or underneath the rocks. So it's two different places to find these two different fish. That is why I'm busy learning where to find them, so that if I ever need to find them, I don't go end up looking in the wrong place for the wrong fish. And there we are, guys. Tiny little smallmouth bass. Okay, so I couldn't give you guys a good look at that little smallmouth bass, but it was a smallmouth nonetheless. The difference, I moved away from the rocks towards the trees, but not at the trees. At the trees you will still find bluegill. You kind of have to be a ways away from the little tree, in between the tree and the rock. The bluegill are too scared to come out that far, but the little bass, they seem to be willing to go that extra length to get to the little baits. Alrighty, ladies and gents, this is a little setup that I wanted to show you guys. This is the little rig that I created because I don't have any feeders left. I have a little wall screw, the idea being that this is just something for the cornmeal mixture to grab onto so that it doesn't fly off when you cast. And then I have my two hooks like normal on here with the idea that the cornmeal goes on top. But this is not a very good system. The cornmeal does in fact not stay on there. I thought it would be a good idea to have my own little DIY feeder set up, but this is not the way to go. Okay, so at the moment I have my one rod out there with some night crawlers, trying to see if there's any catfish or whether any of the carp will go for that, as I haven't had any bites on the corn. The second rod I have out there with a little float just to raise the stuff off the bottom to see if that makes a difference. as is at the moment. I'm on 32 fish for the day, but of course nothing bigger than my fingers, so nothing bigger than that at the moment. Alrighty guys, I wanted to end this video off by finding a big fish like a bass or a striper or something like that, but as it is fishing the desert in the middle of the day, it's quite hot out here, and unfortunately fatigue sets in, which means I'm kind of spent. I don't think I'm going to stay out here too much longer. So then, how do we end this dink fest? Let's use a little fly rod and see if we can find any of these little bass or bluegill using a fly rod. Alright guys, so today was one big dink fest for all the small little fish we got out here. This little one, we got him on the fly rod, a tiny little nymph fly. There we go, our last little fish for today. Please do give this little fish a little thumbs up. Let's get him back into the water. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. I want to thank you for watching. If this is the first video of mine you're seeing, consider hitting the subscribe button, join my community. Remember to leave your comment down below to get entered into the competition. Thank you for joining me out here today, and I'll see you next time.